What's up, everybody? Welcome into the Week 18 edition of the Real Talk Ravens podcast, where we're previewing the Ravens versus Steelers game. This is on a Saturday now, so we're kind of on that short week, playing at home at 4:30.
Not only are we playing at home at 4:30, it is, even though we are resting some people, it is still Steelers week.
Yes, the dreaded Steelers.
As much as that means to the fan base, it still means even more to the players that are going to be playing in the game.
100%. Yeah, I mean, growing up as a Ravens fan, you got two games that you look forward to every year as the games that you want to win. And it's the Steelers both times. I don't care about any other team in the AFC North. I mean, listen, it's Ravens Steelers week is, to me, the best rivalry in the NFL.
Look, I know that we're really just playing the game because it's in front of us. But how great would it feel to be the team that knocks out the Steelers, ends their hopes, and then gets to watch them cry at home from our throne in the number 1 seed for at least a week?
Yeah, we'll get into a little bit more of that playoff picture and all that stuff. But yeah, Pittsburgh's got a lot to play for. They've won 2 straight now, so they're kind of riding high with Mason Rudolph starting at quarterback for them ever since they benched Trubisky.
Yeah.
But with everything that's gone with us benching or resting players, Pittsburgh's actually favored in this game by 4 points. The over/under is pretty low at 35.5 points. If I was a betting man, I would take the over on that, just because there's so many unknowns with the players that aren't playing. So
the thing about the Ravens that makes them so unique to me, and I've very rarely seen other teams like this, but it's where both the scheme and the players on the field are both just that much better. So, like, we saw it last week with scheme. Some of our depth guys came and stepped up, and yes, they are individually great. Like, we have a better overall roster with depth than 90% of the league because we've been so injured. We've had to be. But our scheme is just that much more dominant as well. So you combine those two things, and I think I don't like that line. I don't like that line, but I would definitely go with the over as well.
Yeah. So Pittsburgh's 9-7. We are entering in at 13-3. Already have locked up the 1 seed from last week. Let me just go ahead and show you who our referee of the week is.
Oh, yeah. A little bit of controversy with this one.
Yeah.
I love it.
So we have the dreaded Brad Allen, who made one of the worst calls last week in the Detroit. Was it Dallas who they played against?
Yeah, Detroit and Dallas. And guess what? We're probably, just with our luck, going to also get him in the divisional round.
He better not be allowed to ref in the playoffs.
Watch him just screw up this game for either us or the Steelers. Can you imagine if the Steelers lose because of a call he makes and that ends their season? How mad Steelers fans would be. I know the stakes won't be the same for us, but if we get swept by the Steelers because of this man, I'm going to be upset.
I think he's probably on a hot seat himself a little bit after that. And I'm sure he's received a lot of threats. So if you're him, you're probably going to try to
have a good game.
If things are questionable, he's probably going to let him play.
Right. Or be very thorough on his reviews, at least.
Yeah, and I don't think any team is going to be running any plays where they have to have a lineman go and check in with him.
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah, so hopefully Monken doesn't have that going on.
So it's funny because when I was watching that game, they had said that 70 was eligible. So I was like, yeah, no, that's the right call. And then I actually heard about everything that had transpired before, and I was like, what the? It only figures that a ref would royally screw up not only the Lions game, but their chance at a 1 seed.
Yeah. Also, our threads of the week, we are wearing purple jerseys on white pants, our classic home look. As far as signings go, big one today. Huge.
Today
could be the biggest signing of the season for us, as far as something that just really kicks us into the Super Bowl. At the running back position, Dalvin Cook, who had just been released from the Jets to sign with a contender, and he sure did.
Keep in mind, Oh, sorry.
I was just saying we signed him to the practice squad, not the active roster.
That's what I was going to say. The practice squad, which means he's safe for this week, but next week someone can claim him if we don't elevate him, which you believe we will do.
I don't. I think we. No, I mean I would think we could activate him. I'm saying I don't think anyone else will sign him off our practice squad. If we were the last team in the waiver order, and no one else even tried to sign him to their practice squad, so in order for them to take him from our practice squad, they'd have to sign him to their active roster.
But imagine if like Christian McCaffrey or like Raheem Mostert tears an ACL next week. Well, I guess McCaffrey couldn't, but like
I think
imagine if like Mostert or like Pollard or someone big on a playoff contender goes down next week. You know, what if
the question just remains: why didn't they do what we did? Why not sign him to your practice squad as an insurance?
Yeah, no, and I'm really, really glad we did that. I remember when he got released, that's something we had talked about maybe happening, and we didn't think it would just because there's no way, right? But I like the fact that DeCosta's thinking forward. He realizes we've lost 2 running backs.
It doesn't cost us anything.
No, the Jets paid him $6 million to end up on our team for a Super Bowl run. So,
Yeah. The other guy we signed to the practice squad is cornerback Jeremy Lucien. I believe we've had him in the past and just brought him back. In other news, 6 Pro Bowlers announced from our team. Lamar Jackson, who also just won the AFC Offensive Player of the Week for the Miami game. Tyler Linderbaum for his first time. Patrick Queen for his first time. Justin Madubuike for his first time. Kyle Hamilton for his first time. Roquan Smith, I think, for his second time, and then Justin Tucker got his 7th. Surprisingly, I don't know how Tucker got it because I feel like he kind of had a down year, and he didn't really have a lot of field goals to be kicked.
It's the most popular name.
Yeah, I know it's a kind of popularity contest.
The Ravens website saying we had 7. I'm seeing if you missed anyone. Patrick Queen.
I actually said 7 names, but I said 6. Yeah, that's 7 guys.
I was going to say I don't see anyone, so either I'm tripping or the Ravens. you.
No, yeah, but the biggest thing that I can say for that just is the fact that there were only 3 players that made the Pro Bowl from the 2022 draft, and that was Sauce Gardner, Tyler Linderbaum, and Kyle Hamilton. So 2 out of those 3 guys that made the Pro Bowl from that draft are on our team and drafted by EDC.
That's insane. EDC definitely has had his best drafts most recently.
That draft was so good looking back. Now you have Isaiah Likely, Charlie Kohler. I know he hasn't given you a lot yet, but hopefully in the future we get something out of Ojabo.
Well, here's the thing, man. I think obviously Ojabo's a little bit of a late bloomer, but so was Patrick Queen, and he's just stepped it up big time. And I know
was Owe.
Owe was the same way. But even last week, we saw Bateman start to come on his own. It's really year 3 when these guys start to make a difference.
Oh, the other guy from that draft, Jordan Stout.
Yeah.
That was a great draft.
He's a great punter, man. I mean, we went from Cook to him. We went from the best punter of all time, maybe outside of McAfee, who was pretty good too. But I think Cook was obviously a little more technically gifted, hence his longer career. To maybe the next best punter of all time. We're like the Packers and quarterbacks with punters.
Yeah.
I'll take that.
All right. So looking now at the injury report, obviously a lot of these guys are kind of just resting. We can see right now Marlon Humphrey is resting. Kevin Zeitler, Odell Beckham are resting. Lamar is resting. And then the 2 guys that are out for injury is Malik Harrison and Daryl Worley. So they have announced those 2 as out. We have a couple guys questionable. A lot of guys are questionable for us. Kyle Hamilton, questionable. He just came back today. Arthur Millette, questionable with a hip injury. Brandon Stevens, questionable with an ankle.
So, question. We're allowed to only rest 6 players. So the reason Zay Flowers isn't listed as rest is because he's doubtful and he might be out, meaning we could use that rest on someone else, right?
I'm not sure like the specifics on if it matters if they're designated for injury being out or if they're just resting. So
Yeah.
I don't really know.
See, that's interesting because we have Zay Flowers is doubtful. I wouldn't think he would play very much, if at all.
He
But
might just dress out.
we have Kyle Hamilton. He might just dress out as well. I'm guessing he might play like one drive.
Like the thing about Zay Flowers is he didn't practice last week at all either.
Yeah, I do like that. Even with Lamar being on rest, he was limited, meaning he is still getting some reps in practice, some decent reps.
Yeah.
He's probably getting. I don't know. Have you ever been in a situation like that as a quarterback? What are you really doing when you're on a limited?
Well, if I had to guess, they're just listing him as limited because he's not taking. Maybe he's not practicing the entire practice. Maybe he's only practicing portions of the practice, like the team periods and stuff.
Right.
Maybe he's not going through, like, I don't know what periods he would have to go through, but
I would assume he's still like watching tape and like.
Oh yeah, he's 100% in the. He's
Throwing
there.
Players and stuff, right?
Yeah. For all we know, what I'm thinking is going on with Jackson, since he's technically not playing, he's probably maybe doing individual drills like fundamental stuff and maybe running 7-on-7s, and then he lets Huntley take the team reps.
Okay.
So he's not going and he's not, even being near a pass rush or anything like that. And just so his foot doesn't get stepped on or something like that.
That makes sense. But he's still getting like valuable.
He's at least throwing some 7-on-7s probably and some 1-on-1s.
Okay.
Yeah, so then Darby's questionable, and then Tylan Wallace is questionable with the knee. That's one to watch because he's our punt returner now. So if him being the backup punt returner, I wonder who would be next up because it was supposed to be Zay Flowers. I doubt he would be next up this week. I don't really even know who our next guy would be.
Wait, where? Sorry.
Who would be our next punt returner after Tylan Wallace? If Zay Flowers is not going to probably do that.
Could it be like a linebacker, like
for punt returner?
Or sorry, not a linebacker, like a corner or like a safety, maybe?
Somebody that's done it before, I would think, in college or something.
Like, what if we put like?
I was thinking maybe like someone that's sure-handed, like Aguilar or something like that.
Maybe, but do we want to risk Aguilar getting hurt on those?
I just think he'll probably play a lot. It could be.
He might be our number one receiver going into this game.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
And then like Zay's just on the bench in case
someone gets hurt. I'm trying to see if the special. Oh yeah, on the special teams depth chart on their Ravens website, it does not have anyone after Zay Flowers.
Oh shoot.
Maybe Justice Hill, but I don't think he'd want to do that. He does kick returns.
Yeah. Well, I think like maybe we do like Malik Cunningham.
If he's done it, I mean, just in that position as a punt returner, you have to have live reps. I feel like.
Okay. Well, I mean,
because you don't want to just put somebody out there that's going to drop the punt.
You never know.
You don't. It could be a corner. It could be something they keep an eye on at least. And then last guy that we have here is safety Ardarius Washington, who's just been designated to return off his injured reserve. And he is questionable, but he has been practicing this week in limited ability.
He will probably get some snaps this weekend, I would think, so that he has something going into the postseason.
I would think so because, with Hamilton probably not playing.
Treat this like a preseason.
I would start your two safeties as Geno Stone and Ardarius Washington.
You think?
That's what I would do.
I like that. And what would we do at corner?
Probably since let's see, Stevens is questionable, Darby's questionable.
So like
and I don't even know who's next up. Let's see. Let's look at the
Worley is out.
Yeah, Worley is out. So your next guy is Jalen Armour Davis.
Oh,
and then
Williams, is he gonna play?
You have Rock Ya-Sin.
So yeah, we've got Rock Ya-Sin and
Jalen Armour
Davis. Both Well, I mean, Rocky Yacin's been decent more and more lately. He's been a lot better.
And then
But
Pepe
Jalen
Williams
Armour,
has to be active now, right?
I think so. Well,
He's
that's
not
what
on
I
the report.
What do they call him? Because they don't call him Pepe Williams on this. What's his first name, actually?
Demarion.
Demarion Williams. Okay.
Not on
Yeah.
it.
He's
Yeah,
not
he's
on
not
the
on it.
injury report.
He's
So,
been a healthy scratch, though, too.
well, maybe this is his chance to step up.
Yeah. But let's look at the Steelers here. They have 3 guys questionable.
All of them are
Obviously, they are. If anybody's got any bumps and bruises, they're playing in this one because they are fighting for their spot here in the playoffs. Minka Fitzpatrick at safety with a knee injury. Landon Roberts at linebacker.
He was missing for.
I'm not sure. Landon Roberts at linebacker with a pec injury, and then safety Trenton Thompson with a neck injury. Those are the 3 questionable guys. Pretty much looks like everyone else is going to play. Cameron Hayward, though, something to watch. He's been limited all week with the groin, and that can linger.
Trenton Thompson with the neck injury would be the most concerning one for me because neck injuries are serious, but also he's been limited all week, so I would think he'd probably play.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I don't see.
But that always does scare me when you see neck.
Could just mean like a stinger.
Yeah.
So
hopefully. But Minka Fitzpatrick, yeah, I know he had missed some time, and I don't know if it was for that knee, but he came back last week, I think. I don't know.
Yeah, he was back. I don't know if it's still lingering, same injury or not, but anyways, let's go ahead and get into the offensive keys for the week. All right, so obviously, most important thing when you're playing this defense, you got a game plan for TJ Watt.
Yeah.
I mean,
he's the main reason Lamar is not playing.
Yeah, and anytime you play the Steelers, they're going to be physical. Last time we played them, we didn't have to worry about Hayward, but it seems to me like he's kind of on the down end of his career. He doesn't seem like he's having a strong season.
No. It's hard when you get older and you get hurt and you come back. You're just.
Yeah, I think the main thing for me, I'm excited to see some of these guys that we don't get to see. I'm excited to see Malik Cunningham, who's been talked about is going to probably get some receiver reps this week. And, who knows? Maybe we'll see trick play with it off of it.
I'm excited to see Tyler Huntley because I think he's been waiting to cook. I'm telling you, when I say scheme, like he's looked good.
And you got to think, this is our first opportunity to see him in Monken's offense.
Well, we've seen him in a couple drives here and there.
Yeah, but not like,
a
full game. So that'll be cool. But the other guy that I'm excited to see is the guard. I don't even know how to really say his name. Amave Laulu. He's our guard from Oregon and was battling it out with John Simpson in the preseason. So I would expect him to probably rotate in at guard because you got still Ben Cleveland and John Simpson that I don't think will rest.
You don't think John Simpson will rest?
I don't know. I think they'll just do like a 3-man rotation with those guys.
You think? Maybe.
Just to keep them so they're not getting out of game shape.
Right. I mean, John Simpson's our starter, though. So, like, you don't want anything really to happen to him. I mean, I know
the good thing about that is we have depth at that position.
We do, but what's the drop-off? Like, what's the difference between John Simpson and next man up?
Not much, I don't think. I think John Simpson's our worst offensive lineman.
He definitely is.
I think Ben Cleveland's not that much behind him.
Now, Ben Cleveland had a pretty
and honestly, you probably put McCary in.
Yeah, true. McCary's been banged up lately, though, so maybe he gets a rest this week, too. Or he probably only played a half. He probably doesn't shift in and out. He'll probably do, like, second half.
Yeah, I wonder what we'll do at tackle. I feel like this would be a week that you give Ronnie Stanley a break, but it seems like anytime we give Ronnie Stanley rest, it seems like he comes back worse. So I feel like he kind of has to just keep trying to get stronger.
Yeah, like if he gets 2 weeks off, can you imagine how weak our left side's going to be?
Anytime he gets a week off, he comes back weaker. The other guys that I'm excited to see, I'm excited to see Laquan Treadwell. I feel like he's going to have an increased chance this week. He got activated last week. I think no, not activated. He got signed to the active roster last week for the Dolphins game. So he's officially on the active roster for now. And
so do you think maybe we downgrade someone or something, or someone's hurt and we sign Dalvin Cook to the 53-man roster?
Not this week. Not with 1 day of practice.
Do we want to play Gus Edwards and Justice Hill?
I think you have to.
I mean, let's be completely honest. If you have Melvin Gordon as the lead back and you just throw
Dalvin Cook honestly, if we plays, instead of Dalvin Cook, I'd bring up one of the other practice squad guys like Owen Wright or Jake Funk. Yeah.
Well, I
have been there.
Yeah, I guess that's a good point. I don't really want to risk playing Justice and Gus Edwards.
I don't think we have a choice.
I think we do. And we should make the right one.
I think we just start Melvin Gordon. But just start Melvin Gordon and have him take all the reps.
Yeah, I guess. They'll have to dress up, but I don't want to see Gus Edwards on the field. I don't want to see Justice Hill on the field. I really don't want to see, after the first quarter, anyone who I expect to be starting on the field.
It's going to take some moving around with the roster because there's only 53 spots.
If we won the Super Bowl and the only downside to this season is we got swept by the Steelers because we rested everyone, I would take it.
Oh, yeah, 100%. And, another receiver that I could see us signing up is Tariq Black from the practice squad.
Where did he go? Is he a rookie this year?
Yes, he is a rookie. Let's see, where's he from? He's not Rutgers. That's the other guy.
Yeah. So,
he is from Texas. He's actually in his second year.
Okay. So
Sean Ryan's the rookie from Rutgers. So one of those two I could see making the bump up. Another guy, I don't know if we're going to bump up a tight end or not, but we have a guy on the practice squad with Scotty Washington. And then we also have Ben Mason down there.
Yeah. I think offensively going into this game, we're going to do a lot of the same things we did last week. Or because the design of the Dolphins defense kind of reminds me of the Steelers a little bit, like a good pass rush and a decent secondary kind of can play some man a lot. I think that we'll just kind of chuck it. I think that Tyler Huntley has the arm for that. And I think even our second, third string guys can beat their secondary, especially as banged up as they've been. I don't necessarily think that means we'll score a ton of points, but I think we'll probably throw the ball a lot against them, force them to respect the pass, and then run on them late.
Well, keep in mind, I just looked up the weather here. It's looking like a 75% chance of rain.
Yeah, that makes – yeah.
So if it is raining pretty hard, that could move it to more of a running game. But I will say this, I think Monken does a really good job of kind of adjusting his offense based on his personnel. And I do think that it's going to be a little bit of a different look from the offense with Huntley. It's going to be a little bit more controlled, a little bit more just get the ball out quickly. I feel like that's what Huntley does well at. He's good at pre-snap reading and knowing where his quick reads are and getting the ball out on time. Whereas Lamar is more of, I'm going to let things progress and break down and then make things happen, maybe let the play break down a little bit and scramble around.
Yeah.
So I think Monken has a different look, and it's going to help because I think that throws people off when they're watching film. It's like they can't even use this game as a game to watch for the playoffs, teams that we play.
No.
So I expect to see that. I expect to see Melvin Gordon have a big game.
North of 100?
Yeah.
Okay. I respect that. Alrighty. On to defense?
Yeah. All right. Defense.
This is what I'm excited about for this game.
Yeah. So it's just like we said, we're going to see some new faces on defense as well. So Probably going to see Armour Davis starting based off the injury report. Probably going to see Trenton Simpson starting at linebacker, which to me, this is his time. Like, I want to see him. He's had all season. He's knows the defense now. There's no reason for him not to go out balls to the wall and just fly around.
He's from Clemson. He's used to high expectations.
Yep. Then we got Tavius Robinson, who's finally going to get his chance to really, I think, probably get the most snaps he's gotten all season.
Yeah.
And then based off the injury report, hopefully Ardarius Washington is playing for the first time since
that would be awesome.
The beginning of the year.
That would be awesome.
Another note to talk about here defensively, Jadeveon Clowney, he needs a half a sack to reach his $750,000 incentive for sacks.
So you think he's playing?
Oh yeah, for $750, he playing.
Yeah. What happens if it's halftime and he doesn't have it? Is Harbaugh like, your time's up? You had to have to do it.
I mean,
because like,
you got to think Clowney doesn't get that many reps anyways. He only plays like 15 plays a game.
Yeah, but I still don't really want him out there like that, you know?
I just don't think that he's not going to see the same amount of reps, but I think he's going to rotate in on third downs and stuff.
Yeah, and you know, obviously, with the injuries, we're going to have to play some people that...
Yeah, Malik Harrison's out.
Yeah, so it's inevitable, but I'm just... Knowing our team's injury luck, I am just so nervous about this game.
It's a new year. This year hasn't been nearly as bad as the past.
It's the year of the Raven.
But looking at the Steelers' offense lately, just looking last week, Najee Harris ran for 122 yards and 2 touchdowns. They ran for over 200 yards on the Seattle Seahawks. So for me, I think the number one key defensively, you got to stop the run. If you've been watching, anybody's been watching this Ravens defense lately, the weakness is the run. If the Dolphins would have stayed with the run game last week, I really think it would have been a different game because they were averaging 6-7 and they busting off some 15-yarders as well. So they just, I think, got a little impatient and just tried to chuck the ball around too much. But if they would have just played it a little bit more conservatively and ran the ball, I think that it would have been a completely different game.
Yeah. But then you look at teams like the 49ers who were consistently running the ball and we still stayed ahead of them. So,
Well, their problem is the turnovers.
Yeah.
Because if they would have not turned the ball over, that's a different game.
True.
And then they did have success last week. It seems like with Rudolph, he's kind of pushing the ball down the field a little bit more. Kenny Pickett is freaking check down master over here, so he doesn't really get the ball down the field.
30 points in back weeks.
Rudolph is throwing the ball, and I think 3 or 4 of his receivers each had at least a 30-yard catch last week. Pickens went for 7 catches for 131 yards last week. He's his top guy. He's his go-to target. And every time we play the Pittsburgh Steelers, George Pickens just seems to go off.
Certainly. I mean, it's always been like that with the Steelers. They've always had that one wide receiver that's going to just go off on us. Whether
if you're the Pittsburgh
Bryant or George Pickens,
Yep. If you're the Pittsburgh Steelers, you got to think your game plan is run the ball, establish the run game, and then hit us on a play action deep over the top to Pickens and probably try to hit Warren out in the flats for some screens because without our linebacker, maybe they'll try to pick on our linebackers since not having our Pro Bowlers in there.
I have a very crazy theory about the Ravens, but I think it's true. I think we go into the playoffs and our run defense is the best it's been all season. I think that we are going to hammer in the fact these next 2 weeks. And you know what? I think we're going to get a team. I really think we're going to get Cleveland, who already doesn't run the ball great, but is a little feisty sometimes. And we're going to absolutely try and hit Joe Flacco and stop the ball at the line of scrimmage, and they won't be able to run against us. And if it's another team, we're just going to focus on the run because they will too. And I think we're going to come out of this bye week looking better. better on run defense than we have all season.
You also got to know that this Pittsburgh Steelers offensive line is the 31st ranked offensive line in the league. So I don't care if we have our backups in. I think we're still going to be able to create some pressure. And I'm sure McDonald's not going to be afraid to be aggressive because we don't really have anything to lose.
They're still coached by the same guy. So, I mean, our
I can see if our Darius Washington is in, I could see him flying around on blitzes like he did in the beginning of the year. So we'll see about that.
He can play a little mock Kyle Hamilton, can't he?
Yep.
So that'll be nice. All right. So what are your predictions then of this very weird week 18 Saturday?
I kind of have already hinted on it with the keys to the game. Offensively, Melvin Gordon, I'm going to call it 2 touchdowns. And then defensively, I'm going to say our run defense, I think, is going to cost us this week. I think that we're going to give up over 150 yards on the ground just because I just don't think that we're going to have the linebackers playing, and that's going to be a huge loss for us. And I don't know if Trenton Simpson's ready. And so then my score, I am going to predict that we lose this one 17-20. I think they're going to hit a last-second field goal with Boswell. And, I just – honestly, I want the Pittsburgh Steelers to win this game, and I want the Bills to lose to the Dolphins because if that happens, the Steelers are in over the Bills. And if we will not have to see a Josh Allen-led offense.
And if the Steelers somehow manage to beat the Dolphins, like in a miracle upset, we're not losing 3 times.
The thing about the Steelers is they're just that team that stays around. They stay in the game because of their defense. And I'm not worried about us playing them. I just think that if they play anybody else, they're going to stay around. They're going to stick around. And it only takes –
Here's the thing. Watch them make the playoffs, get that 7 seed win, and then just throw for like 500 yards against us because they have that confidence and they have that freaking stamina. Like,
I'm not worried about it.
I'm not really.
I am more worried about Josh Allen throwing for 500 yards, not Mason Rudolph.
You told me the other day you thought we matched up really well against the Bills.
I do, but I'd rather play the Steelers still.
Yeah, I would too. Okay, my bold predictions. I actually put a lot of thought into this week. So I think defensively, I think we get 3 sacks. I think we're still going to get a lot of sacks, and I think we get 3 sacks. And better yet, I think Trenton Simpson gets 2 sacks. I think he's going to have a game, and he's going to show the Ravens what their future will be if they don't sign Patrick Queen. He's got an opportunity. He's going to make the most of it. He knows we can't keep everyone. So
that is true.
My offensive bold prediction, I actually think that as much as you think the Steelers are going to run on us, and yes, I agree, I think they can run on us as well. I think Tyler Huntley is low-key, the few drives I've watched him in this year, he's looked really good. Like, he hasn't really made any mistakes. And I know it's a very small sample size, and obviously you're going to have the weather and all of that. But I think that Tyler Huntley is going to have the hat trick, a running, a passing, and a receiving touchdown, because we're going to get fancy.
I would love to see a Malik Cunningham to Tyler Huntley pass.
What if that happens? And then my score prediction, we ain't going to let this punk-ass team sweep us, dude. We're going to win this like 24-21. We might score more than that, and they might score more than 21 as well, because Mason Rudolph has been putting up points. But I think in a Ravens-Steelers weather game, there's going to be a lot more running the ball from both teams, meaning there's going to be a lot less time to score. So that's why I have a little bit of a lower score, 24-21 Ravens.
Okay. All right. Well, let's go ahead and get into our picks of the week then.
By the way, we have been keeping in touch and doing the picks of the week. So we have an updated record, but
yeah, what you're going to see right now. All right. So Mike is still 3 games up heading into week 18. Last week, I gained 3 games. I was down 6 games before last week.
Mm-hmm.
And then I took that 3-game advantage back this week and now, or last week, and now I'm only down 3.
I wanted it to get interesting.
That's right.
Yeah.
So I did go ahead. We are going to add in one more game this week since there's just pretty much no primetime games this week with no Thursday night football, no Monday night football. So
Saturday and then Sunday night, and then what else? AFC, obviously, AFC North.
Yeah. So what we're going to do, I'm adding in one more game since it is a big game as far as playoffs go, is the Jacksonville and Tennessee game.
What if you're willing to do this, since it's week 18, we just pick every game?
I mean,
we'll just give a very.
I don't really want to do that because I don't want to pick all these meaningless games with backups.
What you're saying is you don't want to go down by 6 again.
That too.
Okay, fine. I guess that's fair. Are there any NFC playoff implication games that we should add?
I tried looking. There's none. There's really none.
There's like the Buccaneers versus the Panthers. There's the Falcons and the Saints.
The Buccaneers versus the Panthers. The Panthers are 3-15.
Right. But if the Buccaneers lose, then the
I'm not putting a 3-15 team in the picks for the week.
And then you've got the the Packers versus the Bears.
Neither of them are in it.
Packers need a win and some help, but the Bears.
Okay, well, I'll add that one in.
And then you've got the Seahawks Cardinals. The Seahawks are trying to make it.
I will add in your Green Bay and Chicago game.
Sweet. That's fair. Because I'm pretty sure the Packers are in a win and in situation right now.
Let's see. Right now, the Packers are the 7th seed, and
yeah,
the Lions are already won the division. So basically, yeah, because if they lose and Seattle or New Orleans win, then they would be out.
Well, I think New Orleans needs them. Yeah, New Orleans needs them both to lose.
Yeah, I'm just saying
both to lose, and that's if Tampa wins against Carolina. It's a weird, how Week 18 BS works. Either way, it's a win and you're in situation for the Packers, so that's why I think it's important.
Okay, so we'll add that one in. All right, so first one we got the Saturday night football, since we are playing at 4:30, and then there's the game at the primetime game is Houston at Indianapolis. Winner wins the division, right?
By the way, I really do.
Or no, Jacksonville would have to lose, and the winner would win the division.
Yes, but it is currently a battle for the 7th seed, meaning winner will go to the 7th seed at least.
Yes.
And where is it being played?
At Indianapolis.
Okay. This is a challenging game for me to pick because I respect the hell out of what CJ Stroud has been able to do when he's played this year. But there's something about the Colts at home with Jonathan Taylor back and how unhealthy the Texans are that makes me feel kind of like Indy could pull it off. Gardner Minshew just needs to not crap the bed. And they're certainly better than the Titans. Except for when they play each other. But just next to each other, they're better than the Titans, who got blown out by the Texans last week. I think that the Texans might get outcoached. And I'm going to pick the Colts 21-18 in OT.
Ooh, that would be cool. Yeah, so they're both 9-7. I'm going to pick Houston because I like CJ Stroud, and I think he's just going to still be balling.
That is Joe Burrow 2.0.
Yeah, I think he's just going to keep balling. I just don't think Indianapolis really has the defense to really just stop that offense. So, and their offense with Minshew is just very slow moving. They're not really getting chunk plays. They're getting
I
a lot
think
of
what they'll
runs.
do is they'll just kill clock with Jonathan Taylor and screen passes. I think that the injuries will have an effect on the Texans, and that's why I have Indy.
Yeah.
But I respect your opinion, and you're probably right because CJ Stroud is like the man this year. So
Yeah, he's been killing it. He's the probably offensive rookie of the year for sure.
if not Puka Nakua.
Yep. Next, AFC North matchup, Cleveland at Cincinnati. Cleveland has also already announced that they are benching Flacco. I'm guessing that would mean they're starting.
It's not PJ Walker. It's someone else. I think it's like Jeff Driscoll or something weird like that. They signed someone and elevated him today or yesterday.
Jeff Driscoll.
It is Jeff Driscoll. I knew that.
Yep, they signed him off the Arizona practice squad last week.
Do you really feel that bad about PJ and Dorian?
Well, Dorian's out for the year, I believe.
What was his injury again? I thought he only had a concussion.
He had a season-ending shoulder injury. Or no, that was Deshaun Watson. He went down with a hip injury, Dorian Thompson-Robinson.
Is PJ Walker unhealthy, or is it just like...
I don't know what that deal is. That might be like a money thing.
Ooh, yeah. Cleveland. Stingy.
Not
I heard they
Deshaun.
could like trade Deshaun Watson and take half the salary. And I was like, no team will make that trade.
No.
Except for the Carolina Panthers, because they're desperate. They'd already give up on Bryce Young, I guarantee it. It's the only team I see doing it. Okay, what's the next game?
Who'd you pick?
Oh. Let me think.
All right, well, while you're thinking, I'm going to pick the Cincinnati Bengals because I think they're still playing just for pride at this point, and they've actually won a few games, and if I'm not mistaken, they are not eliminated just yet, are they? Yeah, they are.
Yeah, the Bengals
eliminated.
are out, but I also picked them because I think they're going to be playing more of their starters.
Yeah, they're playing for more pride at this point.
Plus, they like always lose to Cleveland.
And it's at home.
Yeah.
Okay, next up, we've got Jacksonville at Tennessee.
Is Trevor Lawrence going to be playing?
Well, I would think if he's able to, he would, because this game means a lot to them.
Mm-hmm.
They're just saying that they're keeping a close eye on him.
I don't think it matters.
They said that he will be able to play.
I think that the Jaguars won this one. They got their momentum back against the Panthers, who we felt they would beat, and they did. They made their owner throw drinks. That was awesome. So, yeah. Jaguars. Doesn't matter if it's Beathard or Trevor.
It's just weird because the Titans have just pretty much tanked ever since they beat the Dolphins 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, but they barely beat the Dolphins, too.
It's a top team.
Like, they had to come back miraculously. And also, the Dolphins lost by 30.
The last time they played each other, Jacksonville beat them 34-14.
Yeah.
With that big of a lead, I don't think it's going to be much of a difference without any motivation to play. I'm going to say Jacksonville wins this one, but I wouldn't be surprised if Jacksonville loses one of their starters to a bad injury.
I hope not. Don't put that in the world.
I'm not trying to jinx it. I'm just saying I wouldn't be surprised because they're going to be playing.
Jaguars fans have dealt with enough this season.
They're going to be playing hard. They are going to be playing hard, and when you play like that,
I don't think they'll have to play hard. I don't think the Titans are even remotely near their level.
We'll see. The next game we got is the Chicago Bears at the Green Bay Packers.
You know what I love about this game? They've been talking about it a lot on NFL Network. How like the Bears never beat the Packers. Justin Fields has never beaten the Packers ever. How the Packers can win in their end, but their defense has been bad. How the Bears, if they'd started winning like 2 weeks earlier, would be in the playoff hunt. Blah blah blah. This and that. I think Justin Fields is the man in Chicago. I think he's clutch. They have the number 1 overall pick, and it doesn't even matter what they do. He's going to prove his worth to that team. Can you imagine if he beats Green Bay and keeps them out of the playoffs on their own field in his last game of the season? What kind of a statement that would be to the organization on whether they should keep him or get him a wide receiver in Marvin Harrison Jr.? It's a big game for him, and I think the Bears are going to win.
This is a tough game, but I feel like, Jordan Love was playing at a very, very high level toward the middle of the season. And then the last couple weeks, he just looked like trash. We were like, what happened? And then last week, he was balling again, right back to that form. Yeah. So I'm going to look for him to continue to play like that version of himself. And I'm going to say that the Green Bay Packers win this one.
He's so up and down, but I don't know, because I don't really watch the Packers that much. I don't know if that has more to do with injury or just like Love is an up and down guy, or I don't know.
He's had some injuries with the running backs, but
what about the O-line?
I'm not sure.
I know his receiver Christian Watson went down for a while.
Yeah, he had a hamstring.
Christian Watson was everything against the Chiefs, so I'm sure he was a big part of their game plan. Okay.
Yep.
So you're going Packers?
Yes, and then just looking at that right now, injury-wise in that game, Bears have starting corner Jalen Johnson questionable, tight end Cole Kmet questionable, Darnell Mooney questionable, Packers Christian Watson is questionable, and then that's it.
I think all of those players play. I think that the Bears are playing for a lot of pride, and the Packers are obviously playing for a playoff spot. So,
yeah, I think I'm going to go just like you said. You think Justin Fields is going to be the difference? I think Jordan Love is going to be the difference.
I would love to see it too. I would actually love to see like a Jordan Love versus Dak Prescott playoff game. That would be really interesting. I think the Packers would get shredded, but you never know. The last time the Packers went into Dallas, I remember that game. So, you never know.
Yeah. All right. So then that brings us to the final game, the Sunday Night Football, the final game of the 2023 regular season. The Buffalo Bills at the Miami Dolphins. Winner gets the crown for the AFC East and big playoff seeding implications.
I'm going to let you pick this one first.
All right. So Miami is decimated. They just lost Bradley Chubb to us. Tua is coming off a banged up shoulder. Not his throwing shoulder, though. The cornerbacks. Xavier and Howard.
Who went down earlier?
Tyreek Hill, I saw the video of him outside of his burning house with a boot on. So he's still hurting. Jalen Waddle, we don't know what his status is.
There was another defensive player. He went down on Black Friday. I don't remember who it is, though. I think it's another pass rusher.
Yeah, Jordan Phillips went down. He had a season ender. Both their starting pass rushers are out. They do have the guy from us that never played for us, but they want to keep attaching his name to the Ravens. Cedar or whatever his name, the D tackle.
Yeah, Cedar. I remember they kept mentioning him last week. I was like, wait, who?
Yeah, they're like, oh yeah, they're former Raven. I was like, if he was a former Raven, it wasn't for very long. He didn't even make it to the regular season with us. But anyways, for those reasons, I think the Bills. Now, the other thing about the Bills, they're coming off a lackluster game versus the Patriots. They didn't look very good, to be honest. But I think their defense is going to be the key difference in this game. And then I think Josh Allen is going to be able to move the chains just enough to get them enough points to overcome Miami. So I'm going to go Buffalo.
So a couple points I want to make. And I'd like your pick. You know how in 2019 the Ravens, their offense was just unstoppable. Nothing could happen until we met the Titans. And yeah, we had a bunch of drops, and Harbaugh mentioned that in his presser. But they stuffed the box and they forced Lamar to make quick throws, and the timing was off, and that's why there were a lot of drops. And then for the next 3 years, Greg Roman did not change, and teams just adapted onto that and were able to beat us. And I feel like the Dolphins offense is kind of like that too, where it's like it's a really flashy, really good offense. They'll put up a lot of points, they'll win a lot of games, but once one team figures them out, they're toast. So I think that Mike McDaniels is a smart guy, right? He's a really, really smart, good scheming head coach. Comes from a great coaching tree, but he's going to have to coach his butt off to make this offense different, dial up things that no one's seen, because I kind of feel like they're one of those teams, and I think it was Sarah Ellison who was saying it earlier, where like you don't see them ever. Yeah, they'll torch you. The Bills see them twice a year, and the Bills have played exceptionally well in Miami. Besides that game last year where they lost, I think Josh Allen is like that's his only loss in Miami, despite how they complain about the field all the time. I don't know how you could pick the Dolphins right now. They're injured.
Whoa. You said on our last episode.
No, I'm not saying you. Hear me out. I don't know how you could pick the Dolphins right now. They're so injured. Their mental is decimated, and everything's against them. And that's exactly why they're going to win on Sunday.
Oh my God!
That's exactly because Mike McDaniel is one of those coaches that can see all of that crap piled up against him and get his team to play for one game. You remember last year when they had Skylar Thompson in the playoffs and they almost beat the Bills? They lost by 1 point. No one gave them a chance.
Yeah.
They're not going to lose out on the opportunity of clinching that 2 seed and losing the division they've pretty much had in the bag for 9 weeks. They're not going to lose it. They're going to find a way to win that game. Josh Allen freaking sucks this year, dude. They're winning despite Josh Allen these last few weeks. He did nothing against the Cowboys. Now, he's had decent numbers, and he's like not – I'm not saying he's trash in general.
He is the reason that they are anything.
I'm saying he's trash compared to what he normally is. Let me start there. This has been one of his worst years, and he's a big reason why they have so many losses. Just like Lamar and the Ravens, the Bills live and die by Josh Allen, and they've clearly done more dying by Josh Allen this year than winning. And they've gotten lucky, and they've gotten unlucky as well. They've gotten lucky to be in the situation where they are now, where they can recover from the bad start that they had. But let's not forget, this is the team that lost to the Broncos because they had 12 men on the field on a field goal. Okay? They put themselves in a lot of bad positions. And that is why I personally do not believe that Sean McDermott is a great coach. I think he's a good coach, but I don't think he's a great coach. And I think that the Bills are going to Bills, and they're going to choke their season away. And unless I'm wrong about the Steelers game, well, they'll be. If I'm wrong about the Steelers game, they'll be eliminated because the Jags aren't going to lose.
I just don't know how you can say Josh Allen is the reason that the Bills are losing. If anything, he's the reason they're winning.
Like I said, they live and die by Josh Allen. So yes, he is the reason they're winning. When they're really good and they win, he is the reason they win. But when they lose, normally it's him. Like he throws terrible, untimely interceptions.
The last loss they had was versus Philadelphia. He went 29 for 51 with 339, 2 touchdowns, and interception, 9 rushes for 81 yards and 2 rushing touchdowns.
Let me ask you this: how many interceptions did Jalen Hurts have in that game?
I'd have to look. I don't know. I'd have to look.
Like I honestly didn't watch that game. I really haven't watched a lot of non-Ravens games this year, so I don't know. And I won't like.
Jalen Hurts threw 1 interception that game too.
Yeah, so they both threw 1 interception. So all I'm saying is that normally when they lose, like when they lost to the Patriots earlier this year, it's because Josh Allen's thrown a weird interception or something like that with the offense hasn't worked out. Because, and yeah, you know, their defense has had a down year. Von Miller was a healthy scratch last week.
The only game that he's, to me, had the really bad game was against the Jets in week 1. Other than that, I thought he's played really well.
I don't know. I mean, like, Yes and no. It's such a weird argument I'm trying to make. You know how when we lost to the Colts and we lost to the Steelers, it's because it wasn't necessarily like Lamar Jackson's fault that we lost, but Lamar Jackson didn't elevate us to win. But then, like, in a lot of our wins, Lamar Jackson elevates us to win, and then everything else goes along with it. It's like,
but then you have to ask yourself, would you be better off with another quarterback?
well, we clearly aren't. We've proven that
I'm
we
saying
aren't.
even for Buffalo, I don't think that they would be better off with somebody else. Like,
I don't know.
there's a reason they fired their offensive coordinator and have been like 5-0
I
since.
agree. I agree that's a big part of it. There's just something about he throws a lot of picks, okay? That's my argument. He throws a lot of picks.
But like if you take out the 3 interception game versus the Jets in the first game of the season, he's probably right about average for interceptions.
His interceptions are very untimely.
So are Lamar's fumbles.
Yes, they are. I agree. I'm not going to argue against that. Look, you know what? There's a reason.
All I'm saying is I would love. I know I said I wanted the Steelers to win and I wanted Miami to win because I don't want to see Josh Allen. But I would also really like to see the Steelers beat us and then just have them be nervous all day long until they watch that Buffalo-Miami game just to see Buffalo beat Miami and crush all their hopes and dreams of making the playoffs.
See, that would be nice. That would be pretty nice. I'm not scared of Buffalo the way you are. I say all this now, and Buffalo's going to throw for.
I'm not scared of anybody, but if I wanted to play either the Steelers or the Bills, I choose the Steelers all day.
No, I agree. I think Josh Allen just needs to like get his mojo back. You know what I mean?
He's got it back. Have you been watching him?
No.
That all right, no. Stephen A.
Yeah.
All right, Shannon Sharp.
No, look. I will go back now and I will watch his games and I will point out every time that he has. I'll look at every game this season, both coordinators, and I'll admit next week when you are probably right.
I want you to look at the last 5 games.
Okay. What are?
And then next week, you can tell me what you think.
Yeah, sure. I will do.
All right. So right now, looking at this, there are 1, 2, 3, 4 different opinions on games. So there's a chance if I got all 4 right and you got them all 4 wrong, I could end up taking the lead.
See, I don't think that I'm very, very confident in 2 of my picks, but I'm extremely confident in one of them. So even if I get the other 3 wrong, I think the worst week, like worst case scenario, maybe I'll have tied. But you know, I am a little nervous about that Dolphins and that Texans and that Texans pick.
You're confident in the Ravens?
I'm confident in the Ravens. I'm confident in the Bears. And I think you reversed the Texans-Colts one. I picked the Colts. You picked the Texans.
Oh, yeah. That should be switched.
I was going to say, I did not pick that. Alrighty. I know you're trying to get out of here. So last but certainly not least, now we've got Mike's top 5 from last week. I had 6 players who I really wanted to put on here, so I'm going to start off with an honorable mention, and that is Isaiah Likely. Beautiful one-handed grab for a touchdown, 2-touchdown game. Really, really proving his worth, stepping up in the absence of Mark Andrews, who may be back, maybe not, sooner rather than later. Very interesting dynamic there. All right. I'm going to start with number 5, and that is going to be Justin Madubuike. Had his 13th sack of the season. He said he's chasing 15, but he's happy with 13. This man has been an unstoppable force. He's been penetrating offensive lines all year, and he is going to get paid next season. And I'm just glad that he's a Raven right now because I don't know how long it'll last. Number 4, I wanted to go Patrick Queen. Both middle linebackers played exceptionally well. Patrick Queen, not only has he been banged up these last few weeks, but he's really played mistake-free football. Great in coverage. This is a completely different man from what we were seeing last year. And, he was right. He said before the season it was going to be year 3. It was year 3 in high school. It was year 3 in college. It was year 3 in the NFL. And wow, Number 3, I am going to go with Arthur Mollett. He played very, very well in a big stage. When a lot of the defensive backs around him went down, he could have easily just been exposed all day. And there were 1 or 2 catches on him that were like, oh, come on, man. But he had probably one of his best performances of the year. And this easily could have been like 56, 55 with that offense, So, number 2, Mr. One-Handed Pick, Mr. Ray Lewis Jr., Roquan Smith. He has absolutely changed the entire culture of that defense in a year and a half. And what was it, like 24, 25 games with the Ravens? He's absolutely been instrumental in changing our defense into what it is today. And he's making plays on the field, and the whole team just loves playing with him and for him, and he's a leader of men. And, he's our Walter Payton Man of the Year candidate, and he's just – not only is he a great man or a great player, but he's also a great man, and you see it day after day, week after week, both on and off the field. So he deserves it. And then number 1, I don't think it's hard to guess at this point. Should I just start putting him as the honorable mention and just doing the top 5?
Yeah.
I mean, no, I don't think that would be fair to Lamar. He's the MVP. He is the league MVP. He's probably going to be unanimous again. Although, don't tell him because he's not worried about it. Well, AFC Offensive Player of the Week. How many yards was it? Like 300 and something.
Perfect passer rating, 5 touchdowns.
5 touchdowns. Beautiful, beautiful passes. He had two of my 3 favorite Lamar passes of all time came this week. The one of them being that one to OBJ where he just perfect teardrop, and then the other one being the one where he goes left-handed, switches his body, and then throws it to Zay.
Yeah, I am worried though with having this week off and the next week off that he loses that rhythm, because that's just something I feel like he's developed the last couple of weeks with the deep ball, especially because if you remember back, he was struggling with that deep ball connecting for the majority of the season.
Okay. Well, if you remember this, his deep ball really didn't start connecting until right after the bye with the Rams game.
Okay.
So,
I just hope 2 weeks off doesn't mess his rhythm up.
Listen, I would rather have 2 weeks off than not have Lamar. And I know that it's like, I get it. I agree. That's 14 days without him seeing a football game.
The one thing that I'll go back to is the New England Patriots. During that dynasty, Tom Brady, he always played at least a little bit in that last game of the season.
Yeah, but Tom Brady also never got injured.
He tore his ACL.
One time. He got injured one time in his entire career.
Yeah.
When he sold his soul to the devil was like, you're going to have one injury, but the rest you'll be fine. And that was the 1 year. Lamar, can you imagine if Lamar went out and played a series next week and like tore his ACL like J.K. Dobbins did on his one series in the preseason, or Bradley Chubb did on his last 3-minute drive last week? I am not willing to risk it. I would rather him be rusty for the first quarter against the freaking Colts or someone like that than not be in the game because
I'm curious to see what Shanahan does with San Francisco if they bench Purdy or not.
It's going to be Darnold. I think they already said.
Okay. Because he was actually one of those guys that was vocal about playing guys so that they don't get out of rhythm.
I mean, even Harbaugh was saying things like they might do things differently. But I think once you actually get yourself in that position, it's very hard to not.
I think the most important thing is that in practice, he is going like he's playing. Like he can't take mentally, he can't take it off. He needs to stay sharp physically, mentally. Just make sure that he's taking care of his body and doing everything he's got to do.
Well, and also you got to remember, we've kind of prepared ourselves for this. When we had that stretch of what was it? Chargers by Bengals or Chargers Bengals by Rams. There was a lot of time in between where we weren't playing either. So like Lamar's already kind of had to do that once this season.
Yeah, I will say he did look good coming off of that bye week with the Rams game. So anyways, I think that pretty much wraps up this episode.
Hour and 12 minutes. That's not too bad.
Hey, we had to ring in the regular season the right way.
Yeah. Are we going to do a wild card weekend preview? Just for fun?
I think we do like one episode next week, and
maybe
talk about. You know what? We can do the recap game of ours, but we'll do a quick episode for the recap, and then we can do another preview of the wild card games, just like a quick, pick the games and
pick the games. Maybe talk a little bit about each matchup and all that. You know what? Actually, that'll be awesome because if we wait till Monday night to do our reaction, we can see Black Monday firings. We can maybe talk about that and maybe just combine it into one big episode, like 1 hour long episode.
Yeah, for sure. But thank you guys for tuning in. We made it 2023 season into the playoffs, number 1 seed.
4 years.
Thank you guys for tuning in each and every week that you do, and just continue to share our podcast with your friends and your family and all that. And make sure you like, subscribe, get our numbers up, try to get our clicks up, and go Ravens.
Let's go.